Welcome to the Breaking Chains exclusive. I got my girl here, Tori, Victoria Tudor. She has been my sister friend since we were in middle school. It's been 2 decades.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Woo! It's been a long time. Lots of ups and downs in there. Mostly ups. Lots of separate, like, we lived in different states, came back together.
Yeah.
Now we actually live like 20 minutes away from each other. Pretty wild, right?
There's like so many things that have happened that we were like supporting from the outside where we didn't even, there was like years that we didn't speak.
Never like a full year.
Maybe not like, but just in time where it's like we weren't close for years, like finishing high school, like through college. And then I guess like motherhood.
It's been like this.
Yeah.
It's been like,
yeah.
But it's always been there.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Victoria. I am, well, is this like my business aspect? Like
Who are you?
So who am I? Oh, what a good question. So I'm Victoria. I'm a mom. I have a business. I'm like fulfilled by all of the stuff I do, just kind of like self-development wise. And which that's another thing that we've always kind of aligned on is just like the health and wellness of our being and like wanting to grow and be better. So for me and like things that we're going to talk about today, I think that they're really going to align and you'll be able to gather a lot of who I am from that.
Yeah. Who am I?
What a question.
It's a crazy question.
Who are you?
Once you strip all of that, who are you?
Yeah. Like when I'm like without my business, because like, wait.
Who are you without being a mother? Who are you without,
like without identifying as something.
So before we even get started on our topic, I did want to ask you a question. It'd be really corny here. What chains are you breaking in your life? Like, what do you feel like has shackled you throughout your life that you feel like you're breaking free of? Whether it's a limitation, a mindset, something that happened to you that you're breaking out of, like.
I would say it's the hardness. So I think I've had to be, and maybe I didn't actually have to be, but I feel like I have felt that I've had to be hard for a long time. And now, even like as I am trying to come into where I am in my life now, all I want to do is soften. And when I say like being hard and that like the chain that was for me, it was just like always having to either like be the best or be the toughest or be just like the most, like doing the most, right? And so now it's like, now I'm just trying to like do less and I'm able to do more, whether it's like with my kids or whether it's in my relationships or my friendships or who I'm supporting, without being so hard and obviously being softer and vulnerable. I can connect more, I can feel more, like I feel more now than ever, where I was like numb, I feel like for many years. So it's like, it's a constant evolution of what's happening in your life and like, okay, can I stay soft right now? Like, or do I want to get crazy, you know? So that for me is like what is something that I'm actively working on, but something that is definitely that I've come from a much harder place than where I am now, like emotionally, intrinsically.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's something we also have had in common since young, right? Like, and even though our childhoods were very different, I think we were both like just those badass. we were so bad. Yeah. Like we've been handcuffed together.
Yeah, like we were, you know, like meet me outside, kind of hard
like,
and like,
ready to fight. Like who's next, right?
You guys know.
But it's just so funny to where we've come, like the mothers, the nurturers, and that brings us to what we really want to talk about today, which is, you say it.
Femininity.
Femininity.
That was a little fast. Femininity.
Yeah. And a lot of is happening in like this like new age spiritual world, right? Like you hear a lot about like divine feminine and there's all of this coming into goddess energy. Like so many people are saying like it's the woman's time to shine. Yeah. And it's very interesting because you do see it. You see a lot more mothers birthing naturally. Yeah. Like you just had your first like
natural birth,
like nomad birth a year ago, which is like such an incredible experience, right? And nobody can explain. You can't explain what that gives you. In this realm.
It's also intrinsic.
Yes.
You know, like I actually was talking to someone last night who I absolutely adore, and we were talking about like the nature of giving birth naturally. And again, like we've just been so programmed to wonder, like, can I do this? And, there I was like, all of this natural stuff. And, it's a lot to take in, because from someone who isn't mentally prepared for like, I'm doing this no matter what naturally, it's so heavy to think about, because there's been so much fear placed behind birth. So like being, in your divine feminine energy, you're like, I've got this.
Yeah.
I was built for this. And it takes time to like unravel those layers of, I'm scared. Can I do this? Is it going to hurt? That's like women's big fear with birth. It's like,
pain.
Is this going to hurt? The pain. And like being able to hold some level of pain, that is a level of healing too, is like, like, I'm going to be okay.
The craziest, what I like to say about natural birth, right, and being med-free and just experiencing it, you're going to feel pain.
Right.
No matter what. You cannot escape pain.
Yeah.
So you either accept it and work with this sensation, this feeling, and ride it, or you're just delaying it and you're actually multiplying your pain, whether it's mental, whether it's physical. Some people think like having a C-section is easier than getting the baby out of where it's supposed to come out. Like what God made you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you understand what you're doing?
Or the recovery.
And there's no, like, some women have to have C-sections, right? Like there are emergencies, but like to choose that, and I'm not shaming women either, because everyone needs support where they're at. Like the lie that you've been told by whoever told you that having a C-section is easier, that having major abdominal surgery is easier than birthing a baby.
There's a level of like vainness there too. Like, it comes down to like, some everything going to change?
Some women, right? Like, is it going to go back?
Like so consumed with that where they're not like embracing like just the natural aspect.
No, it never goes back. It's a tunnel forever.
It absolutely does go back. That's why people have lots of children.
I mean, there's no way to have another child unless it did. But yeah, like there's just so much. So there's childbirth. What else? Like we're stepping into also taking our power back as healers of with nature.
Yeah.
Not like that we do it. Like we work with God. Like for me first, it's like trusting that God has provided us with everything that we need. I don't need to birth my baby and then have it be injected right away or be cut right away.
Right.
That's just where I am in my, like, everything's perfect. And it's like that softness, stepping into accepting what is, and then asking questions about what we've been programmed to believe. And that's a huge shift. And I think where our generation is at, that wasn't happening before. Like there was way less questions asked. Now
no questions.
Like our parents asked absolutely no questions.
No, and they didn't. And
we're
now
fucked.
Yeah, right. Like now it's a matter of like we were taught, or not maybe taught, but if you decide to do the work, which if you know what do the work means, like there is a level of exploration of, okay, if I just ask this question, what does that mean? And when people are concerned with like their health choices or their feminine questions or wherever they are, if they don't ask the question, why don't they? And it's mostly out of fear. So when we are thinking of like fear-based living, when someone's saying to me, this comes like business-wise, but when someone's like, well, what if I don't make any money? What if I don't close any deals? Fear-based. Well, what if my son gets sick after I didn't vaccinate him? Fear-based. What if something goes wrong in my birth? Fear-based. Like all of the things where when you start to want to do the work of like you and your family so that your children don't carry the same burdens that you do, it requires a level of challenging your fears that people are so terrified to let go of because they've identified with these fears. Like, I can't do this because my mom didn't, right? Or my dad was, or, and it's like we've identified with other people's problems on why we can't find success. And if you take a step back and you decide to ask a question without being afraid or without thinking of other people's fears being projected onto you, like you have the answers, like and that is like that energy that's divine.
Yeah, it's amazing you said that, because our last podcast with Chris, he literally said that. And we had like this whole debacle about, I forget what it was, but he's like, everything comes down to fear.
Yeah.
Like literally everything that's stopping you in life is a fear. And you're going to be challenged even more, right? So like if something does happen, like anything could happen in birth. Like the cord can be stuck, the baby can stop breathing, anything can happen.
Yeah.
How do you get over the fears of knowing that something can happen while doing it? Accepting whatever is to come. Mm-hmm. So it's like, first it's like, okay, fear, boom, it's in my face. Yeah. And then it's, what if something actually does happen?
Yeah.
Because things have happened before in my life.
Yeah.
Acceptance of what is. And that's also really hard, like to take a look really at what is. Like, oh, and that's actually like the first step. Like what's here? Mm-hmm. What do I have to deal with? And the next step is how to move through it. Mm-hmm. Just like in birth, when the sensations do come, which we call pain, it's here. Yeah. It's present. Yeah. You're feeling it.
Yeah.
How do you move through it?
Trust.
Yes.
You have to trust that you can. You have to trust where you are, who you've chosen to be your providers, who you've chosen to be your partner, who you've chosen to have in your life, right? Allows you to, one, you said, okay, so you have the problem. 2, accepting the problem, right? And then 3 is like, I've got this. Mm-hmm. Like that trust. I've got this. Or they've got me.
Yeah.
Like if you can't do it, like, okay, fine, I surrender. I give it to God, which I just recently did. And I was like, I literally give this to God. And I was like, I trust it's going to be okay. And like, here we are. It's all okay.
It's amazing. You know? Like, because there's nowhere else to be ever. Like, there's never going to be like some man coming out of the sky that's going to be like, here, I have all the answers. Here's a savior, right? Like, and then if you do, we have to be so careful. I'm actually watching this documentary on Netflix about a cult. It's called Escaping Twin Flame.
No, I saw a different one last night.
It's just like so interesting, so like the cult stuff.
Yeah.
And what is behind every cult?
Yeah. Fear.
No.
Oh,
well,
okay.
A man, usually a man, saying, I can save you.
Yeah.
If you follow me and do what I say and do what I do, and usually not even do what I do, it's you do what I say. Yeah. I promise you'll have all the wealth, all the answers, all the love in your life. Just bow down to me. I am your God. And it's believing in a man and believing that a man is your God.
Yeah.
There is never going to be a person that will save you, whether that's a partner, whether that's a friend, whether that's a parent. Nobody is coming to save you. And I think that, like you said, is the most incredible thing to do in this lifetime is like, I surrender to God, to the God energy or whatever you want to call it.
Whoever you believe in, you know.
That innately is inside of me and created me and exudes out of me, right? So what is femininity to you? Like that, this is our topic. Now we're actually reaching the topic.
We're getting to the topic. So femininity to me, let me just say that I don't think I ever thought of like, what is feminine or am I feminine up until, I don't know, like recent in my life, in my 31 years of life. Let's say a portion is recent. Like
what is a woman?
Yeah, right. Like what is, because now it's like all questioned. Now, and here, let me clarify. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean you're feminine. Okay. So a lot of women live in their masculinity, which I have for a lot of my life. I'm sure you can definitely relate. And it's when we are doing it all and we are overloaded to the max, like that's when we're in our masculine energy. And it's also very similar, I think, to survival mode.
Doing constant, is very masculine.
And there's a level for like each of us personality wise, like I do love to do. So it's important for me to like be super conscious of like, okay, am I doing too much or is this aligning? Like, do I feel good doing this where I don't feel like I'm living in this masculine place? So for me, like femininity as of like these recent years with my kids is like this life of like, okay, like we really are like homeschooling. Like tomorrow he gets to go horseback riding. I get to hang out with YY all day. I have my own business, but I kind of do it in a way where I'm not like, you know, I'm able to have like this level of flexibility where I don't have to just constantly feel like I am required to be, do. And so like putting that into my entire life, like the feminine aspect is also when we get home and we sit down and like after we do dinner, whatever dinner that is, it doesn't mean that I like created this luxurious dinner, right? It's okay. We sat down together. The kids are happy. I don't feel anxious. I don't feel upset. I'm not like snapping at the kids. I'm just like, I feel good. And at the end of the night, the kids go to bed and like I pull my card and I light a flame and I'm like, I'm feeling really good right now. I feel soft. And it's taking like a lot of me to be mindful of that because naturally I'm not used to it. Like naturally I'm much harder. And so even like people who know me, they're like, she seems different, like something, you know, but I'm just stepping into a different place in my life where I want it to be filled with peace. And like, I really do want it to be filled with love. And I want like everyone around me, whether it's my partner, whether it's my family, whether it's my kids, like I want everyone to live in a place of love and like kindness and just like, even like I can feel the sound of my voice like softening as I'm in this conversation. Like that's where I want to be. And so that's what it is for me, which we all have different experiences. So like, how do you feel
with
for you?
Femininity. I think it's really amazing you just said all that because it kind of sums up where I'm at with a third child.
Yeah.
All under 5, right? So it's like there is nowhere else to be but motherhood right now. And it's wild when you're, I'm not forcing, right? Like I forced myself here. I made the choice to be a mother of 3. But when you're in this spot, you're forced to do one of 2 things, right? I can either hand all of my children off, right, and do what we've been programmed to do,
right,
and say, government, you raise my children, daycare, you raise my children. I am going to go get a 9-to-5, and I'm gonna spend my time working to pay for somebody else to raise my children.
But I mean, when you say it like that, it's like, why don't we try?
Right? It's like, what have we been programmed to do?
Yeah.
And you said the other day, it was very interesting. You're like, you pulled your son to homeschool this year, and you said, I'm getting to know my child more than ever. I get to learn who he is. And it's like, it aches my heart even feeling that we've been so conditioned to push the people we need to know the most or need to love the most and need to spend the time together the most away from us. And we've been desensitized to it.
Yeah.
We've been so desensitized. We're being trained like your children are supposed to cry themselves to sleep in their own rooms.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to love your child at night. And
Right.
there's so much, right? And I'm still relearning this and balancing because I'm like, I need these kids the F out of my bed right now, right? Like, so there's balance to it all. There are moments where somebody else needs to take over and teach our kids. But who's teaching your kids morals?
Yeah.
Who's teaching them responsibility and what responsibility looks like? Who's teaching them how to care for the world around them, right? In the way that aligns with your heart, right? So we know that schools are now pushing crazy agendas and like what happened to ABCs and 1, 2, 3s at school? Instead, it's like,
it's like, what do you want to tell us that you don't tell your parents? You know what I mean? Like those are like literally the questions that kids get asked. And then it's like, just like you can see in schools, just the level of bullying.
So that's my memory of school, right? So me, when I became a parent, probably like a year after COVID. It was definitely COVID. I was like, I'm never putting my children in school. I knew I would never really want to put them in public school, but I was like, I'm never putting them in public school, probably not even private school. I want to homeschool my children. I specifically remember my childhood was full of feeling like I did not belong.
Yeah.
Especially because I moved so much. I never belonged. I made friends and then they were mean to me, who I thought were my best friends. I thought we would be friends forever. And then they like outcasted me. I was shunned. My mom cut all my hair off one time. Everybody asked me if I was a boy. I remember crying a lot without people knowing. And then I would go home and it was chaos in my own home, you know, like with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, stuff.
With, you know, like my parents are Caribbean. They're a little crazier, they beat a little more than the average. Also just like a lot of dynamics with like my biological mom and my stepmom and things coming into like.
It's hard to fit. It is.
Yeah.
And
So
to,
like, I
connect.
didn't even know where I fit in my own home. Like, my parents are asking me, do you want to go live with your biological mom? Like, what does that even mean? Like, who's that? Right? So like, it became so weird. And so me knowing that I didn't even know what like a home felt like, and then going to school and not knowing where I belonged in school, what is the greatest gift I can give to my kids? Like, you belong. You just belong.
Yeah.
Here you are, right? And I have no idea what they would experience if they're like in these public school systems, like churning these kids to teach them how to sit down all day.
Yeah.
My kid, you've seen my Kobe.
You know, I was thinking about that the other day. I was like,
he cannot sit still.
Yeah,
for
I
a
don't think.
Second.
Like, if he was to be in pre-K right now and they were like, sit down at this desk, he would be
doing a handstand on the table.
No, he would, no, and if they were to force him, like, he would be so sad.
Yeah.
He would be like so sad. He would come, like, I could just see it. Like, he would just be.
It's not, and because it's me. It's my energy. I look into this kid's eyes. I'm like, I know what you feel like, because I couldn't sit down for a second, and it's our genetics. We just don't do it. Like, it's very hard.
Yeah.
We're not built to sit still. We're built to do things.
So you have to like embrace that.
Yeah, and then I remember being bullied for my teeth. I remember just. And then in
Me too, for the record, they turned out okay.
Right? Ugly duckling.
Better than yours.
So then I got to, what did we get to? Middle school, we're together. Went to high school. What was it?
Yeah, first year.
What was that? Like,
oh my God.
sex,
like
and as a freshman, like all the sex stuff with, you know, like with stuff that's so
and pressure
inappropriate.
and like just pressure, like going to school.
Be in a certain way. Drugs started being introduced, like in ways that wouldn't have happened if we were being taught by our parents. Not like, this stuff is bad, do not do drugs. It was more like, does this feel right in your heart? If somebody sat you down and asked you how you really felt about it, were we doing these things because we felt so good, or we felt so badly the need to belong?
Yeah.
That's all peer pressure is.
Yeah. And it's like, if, you know, and in all of it, like by the time you get to high school, you have been programmed by whomever you've been with, right? And all of those things, all those scenarios lead up to you just doing things because you were told to do them, or you just doing things because like it seemed like everybody else was doing it. So by the time you get to high school, it's like, all right, cool. Now it's just like that next step. So we're going to do more, right? So like kind of circling back to when you said, I was saying I was getting to know my son. One of the things is like, I allowed him to have a lot of game time, and a lot of the game time, like for me, it seemed like, okay, like this is a moment where I could like hang out with the little guy. The little guy's going crazy. Like my older son, he'll play on the game and he's kind of quiet, right? And I didn't realize like how much damage was like happening before my eyes, given by me, right? So, I mean, I know that I'm not alone in the sense of like, oh, my son plays his iPad and whatever. I know there's a lot of that. And this is just kind of like a PSA. Like, if you don't check it, if you don't nip it in the bud, if you're not aware of what your kid's doing all day, not just like when he's next to you and he's playing his game. No, when you are not aware of like what they're putting in their mind, you have no idea what's to come. Right. So like if time would have just gone on and like I wasn't as present as I am, or I wasn't as intuitive as I am, I would have failed at some point. Like I would have failed my child at some point. So for me, this is kind of like, and it's also personal. Like this is deep for me. It has sparked radical change in my life. It has sparked like an immense sequence of events for better, for growth, like leading more with love, leading more with like who we are and what we want. And if as parents and if as like feminine, divine mothers, like you're not tapping in to your children, because when you don't have kids, like that's one life. But when you have kids, like there's a whole nother realm. And you are now like, of course you definitely matter, but like what matters now is like these children being successful and in the manner of successful, I mean like healthy, that they are safe, that they know that they're loved, that they don't like do things and become like some spiraling, horrible something. You know what I mean? Like, but it all starts like very young. It all starts very young.
How many times have I said this on this podcast? From the age 0 to 7, you are hardwiring at that time. So by the time you're 7, you are who
I see 3-year-olds with like iPads.
You are who you. Well, that's what's crazy. When you were talking, like, I was like, the technology only made it worse. In
made
terms
our
of
experience.
school.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at school, they're no longer giving textbooks. They're handing them MacBook Pros.
Yeah.
They're giving them iPads, and they are now able to have access to everything that is under the sun. And when we were young, like we had to like sneak to our friend's house, right, on the parents' computer in a room when the parents aren't there, Google, oh God knows,
a chat room. Like a chat room was like naughty back in our day. Like now, like
they're just Snapchatting and
now
it's disappearing. There's
now
no evidence of what's actually even happening.
Yeah.
And just the brainwashery with the TikTok and there's so much. So I think like this feminine thing that's coming up and why it's rising the way it is because women have to be more available to step into what matters, and that is the home.
Just got the chills. Yeah,
It's
that's
the,
it.
I did too. Oh,
like that is like it's just, you know.
Yeah, the home, the children, the yard, like just being present. And I think that's really feminine, like to be present.
Yeah, to be,
because we have to be here. The male, the masculine energy goes and does.
Right.
They have to leave. They have to know that there's going to be food later.
Right.
They have to know that, you know, you're protected outside later, right? They need to know the time.
Yeah.
We need to know right now. We need to make sure that everyone's okay right now. We are tending to what is. That's femininity to me. And it's, like you said, it's being really in tune and aware, and the only way to do that is to be in alignment. And you said something really cool when we were talking about the water. You said if something is no longer like fun for you, and fun can be a lot of things. It could be like the ups and downs. It could be the excitement. It could even be the sadness. Like sometimes like just feeling is fun, right?
Feeling something, right?
Yeah. If you're no longer like having fun doing it, then you need to check yourself, right? Like if you're not having fun mothering, if you're not having fun partnering,
like wifing, you know,
you have to check yourself. So like, how do you step into more of your feminine other than softening? You said softening, and I think our dynamics are fun because I'm married and you're single. You're a single mother right now. Are you?
I am. I'm a single mom. And
of 2?
I'm a single mom of 2, and it's like, and here's something, right? So I'm a single mom of 2, and I have 2,
and an entrepreneur,
I have two males that I have to engage with, right? So I'm a single mom of 2 with like 2 child's fathers. No, I never thought I was going to be here, right? I never thought that was going to happen,
right? And I have 2 boys.
And I have 2 sons, right? So not only am I like raising future men, but I'm also dealing with the current men that are also impactful in their lives. And they're 10 years apart. So like there's like a huge disconnect that I have to bring together, right? So how do I step into my femininity? I am triggered by it a lot lately by dealing with these men. Okay. So for where I am in my life, like everyone's feminineness, right? It's going to be different based on where we are. Right. So when I am, you know, co-parenting, and I am, what's the word when I'm compromising, and when I am, here's a big one, when I am listening, I am really like, okay, based on what I just heard, this is what I need to do. And this is because of where you are and because of like the impact that you could have. This is what I need to do to make sure that like we elevate. This is what I need to do to make sure that there's love. This is what I need to do to compensate for your lack of, or whatever it might be, right? And so it, like dealing with like kids, their dads, like also business and all these different things, there's a lot of things that happen for me to pause and like, okay, how would I want to respond to this right now? And that allows me to like step into my power, my femininity, my higher, whatever I want to refer to it as. It actually allows me to respond in a way where I'm like, okay, this is how I could lead this situation with love. And then when I do that, and here's the thing, when I do that and when I'm leading with love, I'm able to be feminine.
Right.
Like I'm able to be.
And I think the same goes for masculine.
Yeah.
Like when men are leading with love, then they're able to be masculine.
Really masculine.
Yeah. Oh, I got chills from that.
Where the feminine can soften, where she can be.
Yes, because when a man leads with love, he wants to provide and protect.
Yeah.
That's the way they love. And the way we love is to nurture and be
and care
and receive.
And receive, yeah.
Yes, right? The man is the giver. It's kind of like if you think about the anatomy of it's all written. It's all written ingrained in our nature, right? The images of God and what God feminine is and God masculine is. In reality, God is just God. And God, if you think about Jesus Christ, right, came down as man to show us all of the things, right? We're just here experiencing what God wanted to experience. So if we're experiencing life as a woman, it really is being that receiver. It's being that presence. It's being that lover and nurturer and caretaker. And that to me is what femininity is. And I feel like the more that I am stepping into that, the more I let go and
letting
receive, the better partner I am. Because then the less pressure I put on myself to be this doer, the less pressure I put on my husband.
Because we expect, like just human nature is we expect our partner to do like something similar.
No, because then he has to step in to do all the all the feminine stuff that I'm stepping away from.
Right, because you're like...
Right? Like, I come take care of this, like be home and do... But like if I just like accepted what is and just like loved being with my kids and just doing the thing, all right, honey, do. Keep doing. And I'm not mad. And it's been really healthy like to feel that. And I think it was really fun to talk about today because I feel like it's so new to me. It's like literally a week.
Well, for like, it's like as you're stepping into it, there's a lot of, so like as a single person, like there's a lot of things where I look back and I'm able to reflect and be like, I definitely was not feminine in a lot of my relationship issues. Like something would go wrong and I'm like, like, I wasn't like, babe, let's talk about this and let's come to like a really good agreement that works for the both of us. Whereas like now after, kind of going through different things and kind of just, just elevating in my own sense, like the way that I would approach a very masculine man now is a lot different than what it would be in the past. Yeah. Because like we have to be supportive if we want support. We have to give love if we want to receive love. Nothing is, we could give, but at the end of the day, like there has to be a level of balance that allows for that stackable foundation. Yeah.
And there's so many layers, right? Like, I don't even know how to go into this, but there's so many chemicals around us that are poisoning us, literally messing with our chemicals, our hormones, endocrine disruptors, like endocrine disruptors. So like if you feel like men are a little more, it's in the water. So buy the machine.
Just wait.
No, but seriously, it's all around us. We're being disrupted. So if like you feel like sometimes like angry, it could literally just be in your system. If men seem a little more feminine, it's like it's all around. So like I think this is like to tie all of what we stand for is like health, wellness, and lifestyle. Like all of that matters, like in having that in partnership and what you're seeking for, right? Like as you like journey off and venture into your life and like attract the partner that you want in your life, it like has to align. Like they have to want to be masculine. Yeah. They have to want to be healthy and whole and complete. And that all it's all one. Like usually you won't find a guy stepping into his masculine power who's
also like
sloppy.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just all of it. Like who is also like stepping into their masculinity, but also like there is a level of feminine. Jay, you're distracting me. You gotta sit down, bud.
Her son's like dancing behind there.
And it's like, so, it's all about like when you say, and I also like thinking of the idea of like, I'm not looking for a partner, but the attraction of a partner based on what I am.
What you're exuding.
Vibrating.
Is going to pull.
Like my magnetic field that's like right here.
It's like here.
Like I would never, want to attract some guy who's like a douche. You know what I mean? Like douches are out. Like they're out. They're not coming back. If you're a douche, get it together, do the work. Like you got to put the time in. You got to be sensitive in a way where only your woman sees that. You don't have to, there's just got to be like, there's a lot of stuff that's happening. But like I just feel like there's not a lot. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to say that. There is a huge wave of people who are looking for more and who are seeking and who are willing to do the work, who are willing to look at themselves.
And we see that because we're doing it.
Yeah.
You only see what you are.
Yeah.
Fun fact. We got this buzzer. We got to record something on it. It's a trigger button. I'll tell you more about that next episode with Chris. It was Tyler's idea, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
It's going to say trigger, trigger, and if one of us gets triggered.
Did you feel like I just got triggered?
No.
I was like, wait, did I?
Sitting here. Who put it here, Chris?
Because I definitely did get a little elevated there for a second.
Yeah.
I was like, like when I think about like guys, just because I'm like,
it must be
guys
fun
are
to date.
so, yeah, well, like guys are amazing. Like I really, like I love men. Like I really do. And I don't mean that in like a weird or, like not even a sexual way, but like I absolutely adore like a dude who's just like duding, like he's doing all of the, like just, man stuff, but he's also kind and he's also giving and he's also like supportive.
Oh yeah.
But he also could like go out and like catch you a bear if we need to have dinner. You know what I mean?
And I often eat bear.
And you know what? It's also like them taking care of themselves. And so this is another thing that we're talking about when we're talking about like health, wellness.
That's what I mean. It all goes hand
taking
in hand.
Care, even a woman. Like I'm even trying. Like there's some days where like I roll out of bed and I'm like the whole day I look like I rolled out of bed, and I don't feel feminine. All right, I don't feel good. But when like I get myself together and I like throw like a lopsided curl in and some mascara on, I'm like, girl, like I'm feeling it. So like. I want the same for my partner. Like I want him to take care of himself and do the, like
and you attract what you are.
Have a decent body because that means he's disciplined of some sort. He cares what goes into himself. He cares about all that stuff. Like that's important.
Yes. That's what, like I threw that in there because I feel like ultimately if you're truly stepping into your feminine power, you will be attracting a true masculine power because there's nowhere else to go. Like you want that. It's balanced.
Yeah, right.
You have to be balanced. Truly feminine is balanced by truly masculine, whatever that means. Maybe I'll have a nice chat with Chris next week about what masculinity. Masculinity is. And so yeah, that was amazing.
I'm so glad we did this.
I thought that was fun.
I thought this was really good.
Yeah, and come again. Thank you guys for listening, for subscribing, and thank you, Victoria, for hopping on today, coming all the way out here. It's far to drive.
It was worth it.
Be here.
It was worth it.
Love you, girl.
Love you.
Thanks, guys. Like, comment, subscribe.